Family, good morning. Good Saturday morning. We are live and we are looking forward to today's discussion. Got some great friends that are going to be a part of this today. Uh, we are doing this for the Kingdom Collaboration. We are going to be talking marketing, we're going to be talking media. We have some people that are going to share some insight with us today, and we are truly excited. If you are watching this, please share this conversation, share this live. We've come to be a blessing. So I'm going to bring on my co-host, Pastor Mike Odom.
Good
Pastor
morning,
Mike,
my brother. How you doing, sir? Good morning. Good morning.
good
Super excited
morning.
about this morning. What's going to take place here today? How much is going to be a blessing? And I'm looking forward to the conversation. This is part of what we've been doing. This kingdom collaboration, coming together to advance the kingdom of God to the glory of God. Amen. I thank you for allowing me even to be a part of this experience.
For
Amen.
sure. Man, I want to give a special shout out to Pastor Jason Rogers, Pastor William Cash, Pastor Derek Etienne, our other partners in this, and
Yes.
just many of you who have, just been a part, been asking questions about different things that's happening, how we're doing ministry, how we're doing business, how we're doing life in 2023. And so today we wanted to bring this conversation to you as we continue to do collaborative ministry and have a greater impact, especially across this North Jersey region. So, special guest today is going to be Elder Daryl Brown, or Daryl Spud Brown of Daryl Brown Jr. Productions. And our other special guest is Donovan Marshall of DJMJ LLC, another media company that are going to be sharing and joining in today's conversation. Look, we're just here to add value. We're here to help educate and offer tools so each and every one of us can do life, can do ministry, can do business better. The world is moving in the direction of AI. Artificial intelligence has a major impact of how we do life today. Media has a major part of how we do life today. Since the pandemic, there's been an increase of social media presence and the impact that social media has, and just the distribution of messages, of content, of materials, of how we do life. Some of us have experienced going to the doctor but not leaving your room because you are now teleporting, or you are doing video chat with your doctors. So again, life has changed. And so we want to make sure that we are not just with what's happening, but we're doing our very best to stay ahead of the curve. So let's bring on our guests because we are ready to get this conversation going today. All right. And I got another special guest that's going to tap in just one moment, but we're going to bring on Pastor O. We're going to bring on Elder Daryl Spud Brown and our good brother, Donovan Marshall.
Hello.
There we go. What's going on, family?
Hey,
What's
what's
going on,
going on?
guys?
What's going on?
The
So
text on mute. That's crazy, right?
there we go. Pastor O, can you introduce everybody? And I'm going to come right back.
Okay, so we have Pastor Daryl Spud Brown Jr. out of the Maryland area, who's doing great works. I really got to know today. I've been knowing of him for a while. I heard of his great work and his legacy, and I've seen the results of the work that he has done as well. Could you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Pastor?
Sure. I am here in the Maryland area, Maryland, D.C. area, DMV. I attend serving proudly in ministry at the Greater Bible Way Church. Prince Frederick Church is located in Prince Frederick, Maryland, where I wear multiple hats. But for the sake of this conversation, of course, ahead of our media and production team, we didn't have a media and production team before the pandemic. And so just serving along with Pastor Jason in the International Bible Way Churches of Jesus Christ, and in media marketing and production. And before the pandemic, there was no media marketing production for IBW. Right. And so just privileged to serve a young man who just wants to serve and meet the need wherever I can.
Thank you for sharing. And you're a multiple generation preacher as
Yeah,
well.
yes, sir.
You've
Yes,
seen
sir.
the transition from generation to generation, and now you have a great understanding of what's needed for this generation, for the church and the body of Christ to be more effective as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
thank you for that. And we also have our young brother, Donovan Marshall. I'll let him tell a little bit about himself. He's local, got a couple of new things happening in his life. He got a lot of great things happening in his life. I wish I was in your shoes at your age. You was blessed and highly favored. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. So my name is Donovan Marshall Jr. from Patterson, New Jersey. My home church is Creech Temple United Holy Church of America, where my pastor is Pastor Moses McKenzie, Bishop Moses McKenzie. Currently, I am the Media and Arts Director in Irvington, New Jersey at Transcend Worship Center, where I oversee and foresee all consultation services, all media needs, and all of the like. It's a lot of hats there. I am also the media oversight at Grace and Restoration Fellowship Church in Patterson, New Jersey, where the pastor is Jerry Wilder. And the list goes on. I'm wherever I'm needed to be, where I can be. I currently work at New Jersey Institute of Technology, where I am the audio visual system specialist of the campus. And pretty much my day to day is AV all day, every day. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's a little bit, man. Listen,
Yes, sir.
NJIG? NJIG? Okay. That's all I'm going to say. And also, if you don't mind, Donovan is recently engaged. Amen.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
want to
sir.
applaud him for that and congratulate with him as well.
All the market.
I just want to make it known before we went into this conversation any further, so we can get no DMs, anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it back in the hand of Pastor Moody.
Man, so I mean, again, we're excited today. If you're in the comment section, let us know where you're logging in from. And then if you have any questions for our guests, you are more than welcome to ask your questions, and we will do a quick Q&A. Man, but this conversation today, again, we just want to pull some things out that will help you today. And then again, if there's a follow-up, you can actually reach out to them. That's part of the reason why we wanted to do this as well, because again, we know a lot of this is changing for people. This is something new. And as they mentioned, before the pandemic, some of these things weren't in place. So there was a lot of trial and error over the last few years that has, given them some more insight. And we're here to, share that today. But let's start with Elder Brown, man. And let's talk about, the impact of media. How important, is it today, right? For ministry, for business. Just talk about some of the things that you've seen it help.
I would go as far today as say it's a necessity. Just in the in our current climate, in our current construct, everything is video. Everything, even from our social media platforms. Before it was pictures. Take a picture, put it up, get likes. But now everything is video. You put a picture up, you get 1 like. You do a video, you get 1,000 likes. Everything is video. So, you have to be able to capture in some way, shape, or form your ministry, your business, what it is that you do, and put it in front of the audience, because that is what they are looking for now. Everybody's looking for video content. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be drawn out. But it can really, really excel your ministry, your business, your product, your services. If you can capture that and capitalize on that, and present that to your customer base, present that to on social media, whatever the case may be.
Froze up a little bit.
Whatever that case may be. Am I still coming through?
Yep, you do it now. Yep.
Yeah, it's a necessity these days. Everybody's watching. Everybody's watching,
Right.
And they're watching to see if they want to actually experience in person. For example, if we go, ministry thing, everybody's watching to see if I actually would like to come and partner with your ministry or visit your ministry in person. And so, with that first impression, and the same thing with your business, You know,
Right.
everybody's watching, you know, to see what your business is about. What are your services about? What are people saying about your service? To see if I actually want to experience it for myself. And so I think this whole media thing is essentially about first impression.
Absolutely.
It's about
Absolutely.
first impression, and as I always say, a first impression is something that you can never take back.
That's true. Is this for everyone? Would you say this is for everyone,
Everyone in regards to just personal as well.
or for churches and things for that nature? Is it?
Yeah,
Do you feel like it's for everyone?
it's for everyone. It's for
Okay.
everyone. Again, you know, we as we were talking, you know, before we came online, you know, you got to find what works for you.
Right.
You find what
Right.
works for you, how you can best package what you are doing and present it in a media format. So, for example, if we're talking ministry wise, hey, um, we may not have the capability, the staff, or anybody in our church with the wherewithal to put together a high quality stream.
Right.
We may not have that.
Right.
Okay, well, what we do have is I know we got some young people who got iPhones who can take some videos and put together a reel
Right.
where I may not have a high quality stream, but I can still present the experience of our service through a reel.
That's right.
And I can
That's
do
right.
that at a high quality level. So I think it's important. I think it's important that you have to do what works for you, but you have to find a way to present that in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Because
And I,
what you will get, I'm sorry, what you will get is a connotation. If you're not presenting it, then you will get your church, your ministry will get the connotation as you are not keeping up with the times.
got you. Got you. Go ahead, Pastor Jason.
Yeah. Don, what's been your experience working with your clients? I know you're getting different requests, but what are some of the things that you've been kind of consulting on and then working on with them?
So as of recently, podcasts have been a really, really big thing. And so that's been like one of the main things people have been reaching out about. I think podcasts are an amazing way to get across a point through an audio medium, visual medium, or both. How to's or just discussions on things that you're versed in, and all of the like. I think just looking from 2020 to now, though, there has been less of people feel like there's less of a need of it. So I'm kind of in a strain of like making sure that like, look, this is still very relevant. I literally was just on Chat GPT yesterday with my boss,
Nice.
because he was like, he knows my workload. Like, I'm more of on the engineering side of things than I am on the paperwork side of things. So he was like, yo, just feed he wanted to show me like, yo, feed this app something real quick and let me show you what it gives back to you. Yeah. Literally wrote out a whole biweekly summary for me. Of course you got to put a little bit of information in it, but it's insane where AI, social media, all of these other things, the metaverse, it's insane what all of these mediums are growing to. And like, I really, I think one of the hurdles I'm dealing with my business is that's definitely like learning how to be a better communicator. Cause I'm Gen Z. I was born 98. And for me, this is a no-brainer that your church should be going live. If you're not going live, you should be training volunteers. If you're not training volunteers, you should be doing all the things that Elder Spud said. But, you still kind of fight the battle of like, where two or three are gathered, and forsake not the assembling of yourselves. And it's cool. And like, I agree with all of that. But I think we neglect, and I'm here with very scholarly theologians, but I think we neglect that like half of Paul's ministry was writing letters. Like these were not like some of these were not face-to-face encounters. And you can see my face. We're not in person together, but you can see my face. You can hear me. So like we're like kind of forsaken. Like this is 2023, and like this is where the world is now. So that's just kind of been my experience with that. Just yeah.
Paul would be doing podcasts.
Paul would be killing it. Like
Let's,
Joe
let's,
Budden.
let's go.
Joe
We're here.
Budden,
Let's go.
like
Video podcast.
like $1 million worth of game, you know. Joe would be killing it right now. He would be on billboards, like, you know. So I think we kind of like, you know, kind of stray away from understanding that. And I think we're in a space too. And you know, my home church pastor, Pastor McKenzie, he I think he just turned 74. And when everything happened, he was like, look, I trust y'all. Y'all go ahead. But I realized he was in the space of like, yo, I really don't know what's going on. Like, this is crazy. Like, so we would put a camera in front of him.
Yeah.
And he would just hope for the best.
Yeah.
And he would get the phone calls like, good job today, Pastor. And he'd be like, all right, good. That means something went up. Yeah. But like, we're almost now, like, so we're so learned. We've learned church. We've learned how to have, we learned how to pick up an offering. We learned our 3 points and our close. We've learned all these things. But now we're in a space where, like, oh my goodness, I don't know this.
Right.
And we're speaking to people who are in their late 60s, in their 70s, who now have to relearn what they thought was always going to be church.
Amen.
So
excellent. That's excellent. And part of the question when I first asked, because I want us to broaden the scope and help everybody understand that I can do this. Because I remember, yes. Bishop, when you guys, I don't know if you did it, but whoever did it, first of all, the clarity of the presentation was magnificent. And for those older ones, it was because they're used to the audience, they're used to this, but helping them to understand it's okay, it's safe. Even we do pre-recorded, even we do, like you said, we do reels and clips. You just want to really help them do that part. So you guys are vital to this move, because when we mention words like metaverse, it scares some people. It's scary to me, and I like technology, you know. But for those who are not familiar, like you said, those are what we hold on to, the 2 or 3, forsaking not to assemble yourself. You're going to still have that. But the positive side is the greater reach that we have.
Yes.
We have a much greater reach than we have ever had before. Now, I guess the challenge for some people is, I don't know if I could count those people or I could see them in my audience. The way I want to see them. So,
well, also, if I can, I'm sorry, Pastor. So also, if I can jump in, I mean, so we have to remember, maybe this wasn't like this for everyone, but social media was like demonized for like a decade or two. Yeah. Like this was the worst thing ever. I mean, like, young people need to stay off of that stuff because you're messing your minds up. And in a sense, you know, I don't know how you guys' algorithm is, but it's kind of hard to avoid some of the negative reels or, you know, explicit stuff. Right. But it's the same thing on broadcast television too. You kind of have to just, you know, feed if that offends you, you just keep scrolling. So that was kind of a hurdle too. Like, I was literally told to stay off of Facebook until I was like 16. So, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and really it put us behind when we were hit with the pandemic. It put us so far behind. And to be honest, you know, some things, you got some ministries that are doing media marketing and production really well, and the world is changing again. You know, it's changing again. I think one of the big things, and just kind of to chime in on what Donovan said, is I think for our generation, even Gen Z, is you have to learn how to communicate it to your pastors. You know what I mean? I think you have to learn how to communicate the necessity, but where we fall short is we don't tie what this is into the vision of the house. You know what I mean? I always tell other young people, young pastors, young ministers who complain, oh, my church don't want to progress, they don't want to move forward. Well, my thing is if you're a son or a daughter of that ministry, you should know how to talk vision. Right. So whenever you present progressions to your pastor, leadership team, whatever, you should be able to put that in the framework of the vision. Stop just telling me we need an LED wall and lights. How does that fit into the vision? You know what I mean? And so even Donovan, even with you know, the whole forsake not to assemble yourself. Listen, that we apostolic, we understand. You know, but you know, I had to really present it like this, Pastor Odom, is one, much of the Apostle Paul's epistles is about how to live and exist in community. is how to live and exist in church community. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what he was addressing to the Corinthians, to the church in Ephesus. In each epistle, he always throws something in there about how to live in community. Do not think more highly of yourself than you ought to.
That's right.
Be servants to one to another. And so essentially, he says, do not forsake to assemble yourselves, because of course the assembly is necessary for community. But guess what? We can use social media means to build community.
So I
That's
think,
it.
Spud, you and Donovan are actually speaking to a great point, and we are officially off the agenda, and we just gonna rock, right? Because we just have a great relationship. This is what we do. I think, we really have to hit on effective communication.
Right.
Right. What's the language? What's the current language of the generation of what's happening now? Right. Not that you so much have to speak the same colloquial terms, or like, DC has slim, Jersey might have, yo, or depending on north or south, right? Because, down South Jersey, they say John because they kind of connect with Philly. North Jersey might be, son, and I'm dating myself with that. But it's it's really about that effective communication piece, right? Like social media helps us to communicate vision. Social media helps us to communicate the message. What can we represent Jesus?
Right.
While we represent Jesus, we're representing him, and we're just doing it through a different, medium. And I think, like you said, when we can explain that, it gives them something to think about, and then say, all right, how can we now? Like, it goes from, do we really need that? And then when you explain it in terms that they can understand and connect it to the vision, then it becomes, now how can we do that, right? Like, because it becomes a priority, and then you can now start moving things from the budget line, right? Spud and I use this terminology. I don't know where I got it from. We could have just came up with it. It's cool. We're both intelligent, right? But there's a saying, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, what if it's no longer good?
Come on.
As an effective means of communication, right? And I think the example I use, nothing wrong with a VCR. That's just not how movies are being translated now.
That's right.
So the VCR may not be broke,
right?
But if it gets broke, they don't have the pieces anymore,
right?
You're probably going to pay to get it fixed more than what it's really worth.
Exactly.
If your VHS tape pops, that's it. Like, you're going to have to upgrade, right? Because all right, and then we could translate that to DVDs, even Blu-rays, right? Because right now, everything is streaming.
Everything's streamed.
Absolutely. Jay, do you realize we have young people who do not know what a VHS or a DVD is?
I only know what a VHS is because I had to. Well, I don't like me. No.
Have you ever held a VHS?
I've never held a VHS.
Wow.
Have you ever played a VHS on a VCR?
I just learned about it at work. I don't know what it is. I'm 24, so.
Does your job have it?
VHS tapes.
Say it again, Jay.
Did your job still have VHS?
Yeah, we're throwing them out. Like, it was just legacy stuff. The video production guy just like retired last year, so yeah, we're like slowly like throwing them out before he comes and get them. Yeah.
So one of the things that Elder Brown said, which was really, really important, and it was one of the reasons why the pandemic was hard, besides the laws not knowing, it was the ability to come into that building. Because now not being able to come to that building goes against what Donovan was saying about forsaking yourself, not assembly. And we got to redefine what community look like.
That's it. Yes, sir.
What is community to you? And one of the things, especially for the African-American church, it was inside that building. So this is now forcing us to do something we claimed we was doing all the time, outreach and evangelizing. And that was limited in what we were doing. And we did that on occasions when that should be our everyday work, the way we work. Marketplace ministry. And in order to reach that, we have to be able to effectively communicate that message to those masses. There's no way we can have kingdom without community. So that community, and again, saying being prepared. What I was doing, I was using Periscope. If y'all remember Periscope, we were trying that before, and so God kind of made us a little bit ready, but we weren't ready. I mean, I bought more equipment. I was able to justify it during the pandemic, as much as possible, and not just do it so I could communicate it effectively and clearly as much as possible. So there got to be a willingness to invest in it. Go ahead, Pastor Jason.
So as we're talking about effective communication, Spud and Donovan, speak to us about how certain platforms are for certain things. So, everyone was trying to do service on Zoom. Like they were trying to have regular service on Zoom. Talk about proper platforms for the type of ministry or business that you present.
Yeah, I'll say this. When the pandemic first started, Zoom, even StreamYard, was not meant to hold not necessarily the video capacity, but the audio capacity. So people were trying to have services on Zoom. Now Zoom has upgraded and they have different audio settings that you can go in that can handle if you're streaming through Zoom. And StreamYard it's more prepared now as well. But I saw people trying to do services through StreamYard, and you couldn't hear anything. It was just bad. But of course, with now you have multi-streaming platforms. Facebook has upgraded. Of course, we were doing all Facebook Live. Everybody was doing Facebook Live. Facebook has upgraded as well. But of course, for streaming services, it's Facebook and YouTube, and you need to get a website.
Most definitely.
The biggest thing, of course, and Pastor Jay will tell you this. We've been telling every church that we consult with. We've been preaching this for at least 2 years, even to the point where we partnered with a web designer who could do it for churches in IBW. Is that, listen, you need to start moving your audience off of Facebook and YouTube and start transitioning them to your website as their main point of viewing. Facebook is cool as a secondary. YouTube is cool as a secondary, but to view your service, they need to go to your website, because guess what? If Facebook does something where they want to start charging churches, they want to start taking videos down. I don't know if y'all remember that one day where Facebook just shut down. Facebook shut down, and everybody was going crazy. Jesus is coming back. Oh, they don't want us to get the gospel out. They are muting, and the world was going crazy. The world was going crazy, but that is why we literally use that as proof. Like, listen, we've been telling y'all for months to get a website so that you can stream your services and even conversations like these on your website. And when Facebook shut, they were like, oh, Pastor Moody and Elder Brown is right. Because it happened on a Wednesday.
Bible class.
A whole lot of people's midweek service, a whole lot of people's Bible class, it was nothing that they could do. So you never want to be constricted, to one platform. You never want to be. Instagram has changed some stuff where you can do some stuff on Instagram, but Instagram still is not good for streaming services. Stay away from Instagram on streaming services. Facebook, YouTube, and also again, number one is your website.
Yeah, even with Instagram, like certain platforms, like what I'm using now is Ecamm.
Yeah.
And they allow Ecamm to use it, but they pick and choose who can use to stream through them. So it's kind of selective as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you just never know, Don, as you get ready. Hold on. As you get ready, you just never know when legislation and policy is being written that will now censor.
So it's coming down.
And suggest that you preaching Jesus is offensive to me, so therefore we're going to cut your stream because you said Jesus saves everyone.
Yep. But that stuff is not going to be free anymore.
That's right.
Like, that stuff is already, in Silicon Valley. Like, people have been using Facebook as a free streaming platform, since the pandemic. And so now, we paying everybody else. Facebook is going to start charging. No more free lives. No.
That's right.
Facebook is going to start charging.
Yeah. Don, what can we lend to this?
Zoom. So I have Caribbean backgrounds. And the Caribbeans, Zoom has a dial-in feature, and some of the Caribbean churches have really seasoned saints.
That's a nice way
and
to
they
put it.
needed to dial in from their landline.
Wow.
So that kind of kept them restricted to Zoom in a sense, because some of them still have not left their house.
Right.
But I just want to put it out there for anyone that's still using Zoom, please stop. Zoom by far at its best is for, an audio meeting, like just, us talking right now, we could probably have used Zoom. Zoom, number one, takes up a lot of bandwidth, uses a lot of your GPU and CPU. If you ever want to like test that, you go to your task manager or you go to your analyst. I forget what it's called on Mac, but you can watch how much of your CPU that Zoom is actually using. So it takes a toll on your system. So that's why sometimes you have some of that lagging. So you're already in a phone call and then you're trying to stream it to Facebook and YouTube. So you're going to have issues there. Number two, for the audio, it sums your audio from stereo to mono. So even if you're sending a mono signal, it does something where when people used to try to like send full bands and worship teams through Zoom. And if you would ever notice, it would like garble the audio kind of like this, and it would make it sound kind of crazy. And that was because it was trying to sum the audio down to mono, because technically it's just a phone call. Zoom is just meant to be a platform where you can, just like Skype, like you can visually have a FaceTime Zoom call, right?
Right.
So platforms such as StreamYard is basically just a web browser encoder, which I can come on here, I can plug up my camera, I can tell it to recognize my camera, I can plug up my microphone, I can tell it to recognize my camera. There's a bunch of different, software like Ecamm Live, OBS. These are all encoders that can stream via an RTMPS. If you ever tried to go to your website, you have to copy a link, or tried to go to YouTube, you had to copy a link in order for it to work. So there's so many different means of getting to these different platforms. Just by far, I think definitely going to your website via whatever means you're going live. So just one step we didn't talk about was you can't just plug up your camera and like go live straight to your website. You have to have like some sort of like software that will encode the video to your website. So whether that be OBS, whether that be Ecamm Live, whether that be Restream.io, whether that be StreamYard, you need an encoder that will recognize all your devices and send it to your website. But I think your website is the safest way to stream that. And you also have different means, like we use Boxcast Pro at my morning service. And with Boxcast, you can set your destinations, but it'll automatically go to your website. So you can set it to Facebook, you can set it to YouTube, but it'll automatically stream to your website. So just as a general rule of thumb, I think going live to your website is probably hands down the best solution. You won't find your website crashing, because your website can, even if you had like a congregation of 1,000, compared to where Facebook has to hold all this information for millions of people. So at any given moment, that information can give out and we can all just like not have Facebook for a day, which is what happened before. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube is a means where millions at the same time are going to one streaming service, whereas your website just has your parishioners and whoever else is coming on to look. And I think that's just like the safest and healthiest way to go live. And then not to mention too, right? Like Elder Spud said in the beginning, when you want to go visit a place, you're going to go look them up. I haven't been anywhere in the last 4 years without going to look them up online. Whether that be food, whether that be, for equipment, whether that be for a haircut, I'm never going nowhere with it. If you don't have social media, I'm not coming to get my hair cut from you. I'm not coming to eat from you. And it's crazy, right? It's a crazy mindset, right? Because back in the day, people used to just, yo, go to my boy, he's $10, but now we paying $50 for haircut, so I need to see your work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I guess that's just generally you want to be able to be Google searchable, right? Like I should be able to put in Pastor Odom's church. I should find it on Google, whether I get, direct links to YouTube or his website. And I should be able to see some of the services, your about page and everything like that. I think just as a standard, but I think the website would definitely be the best way to go. Facebook also can have times where, I don't know if you guys have been noticing lately. If you go out of the Facebook, if you're getting a call and you go out and then you come back in, it'll like slow the speed down of the video or something. The connection gets lost. It'll mute it. So if you're more seasoned saint and you go out of Facebook real quick and come back in, you have to tap the unmute button in order to start hearing audio again.
Right.
And I don't know if sometimes I'm like, yo, what's wrong with the audio? You got to tap it, untap it. So sometimes Facebook can be a little funny in that way. YouTube is a lot easier. So like if you have like a smart TV, you can, cast it to your TV a lot easier than Facebook. So YouTube, your website, Facebook is still fine because you can engage. There's also a couple of people I know who privately go live to their Facebook as they're growing their community or even growing their live stream. Like I know we'll go into that, but if you're still working on your audio kinks and your worship leader isn't the strongest, whatever, and you have a Facebook private page, you can go live to your members on your Facebook private page as you build and you grow. Take snippets of that, post it on the main page, stuff like that. Yeah.
That's branding.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to say too, just to come back to the top of the purpose of why we meet together. Again, this is Kingdom Collaboration, come together to talk about how we can advance and build a kingdom. And our focus for this quarter has been, does your network? And part of what we're trying to do is teach people how to work that net and how to make sure that it's working. That's effective tools as well. So I actually preached this last Sunday, and part of it was the first encounter when it came down to Peter was the net actually broke. Mm-hmm. It actually broke, and there were several different people because you had not defined who you are. The second time, it was one boat, one net. The net didn't break because it was more purposeful. And when we learn how to walk in our purpose and be more effective, because we don't want to just be broadcasting, just to be broadcasted, just to be seen. We want to make sure that we're effective in what we're doing. And again, even with the Kings and what you said, Donovan, is funny because what starts to happen in the comments. The Saints were like, I can't hear you. I can't, seriously.
I can't stand it.
And there's a delay. There's a delay from what we're doing and what they're seeing.
Right.
So sometimes that delay can be 10, 30, 60 seconds. Right. So they got it 60 seconds later. We fixed it already.
Right.
But then it pops up in the comments.
Exactly.
And you're like, wait, did we fix it? So, yeah.
And then, like I said, some technically, as we're growing as well, when we started, we had an iRig. We had the wrong iRig. And Pastor Jason could speak to this. Live sound versus
direct audio
is different. And again, I have not perfected. That's not my lane, but I do identify that's been an issue. So again, the purpose of what we're doing today, come together, bringing these great and wonderful individuals together to help us to understand better what are we against. It's about, does our network, how are we reaching people? And I think someone said it earlier, the word tradition comes from the word, of course, trade. And trade has to do with value. And again, VHS in their days had a value, but that same value is not there. So even though we do some things traditionally, is it impactful? Is it as effective as we want? It doesn't mean I got to throw it away, but sometimes it's taking up space. And there's a more effective way to do things. And then the other part of it as well is that we could be doing more impactful. We know coming up, if you came in an apostolic background, great, heartfelt intentions may have not been the most effective way to do certain things. And some of those things we are dragging in our neck.
Yeah.
And there's some things we need to release,
Yeah, I think and we talk about this whole media avenue, marketing, production. Essentially, if we are preaching the gospel, right? Why should we take this seriously? Why should we put money into this? Why should we pay for one of our young people to get trained, and then come back and help us train other young people? Why? Because essentially we're trying to present the gospel in an excellent way.
Right.
So it's even more difficult with media and somebody who's watching a stream, because if this videos, how many of us will sit here and keep trying to listen to a CD that's skipping?
No, sir.
I know we don't listen, you know what I mean? Or try to watch a TV channel that's fuzzy.
Right.
What we gonna do?
Change the
We gonna
channel.
change the channel.
Yeah.
And so in order for us to present this gospel and to keep you engaged, we need to make sure the picture is clear. We need to make sure the audio is clear. Like, that's why we need to take these things seriously,
Right.
and do our best, because you're literally a swipe away
That's it.
from somebody changing the channel.
But I think in one of our conversations with me, you, and Cornell, or either in one of our presentations, we were even talking about the data behind that. Like, if you off the top of your head, do you remember how long we have when it comes to that? Like, what's the
5 seconds.
Mhm.
5 seconds to make
Yeah,
an
5
impact?
seconds.
Yeah.
You have
5 seconds. If those of you who are out there, if you have, I think they call them like pages. If you have like pages or business pages,
Fan
will
page.
give you fan page. Thank you. They will give you the analysis and the breakdown of that. They will give you will tell you how many watch for 3 seconds, how many watch, and YouTube will also give you that, right? And what that is, that's to tell you, how many people watched and for how long they were watching. And so this is why, it's important. We have to assess our services.
Mm-hmm.
We have to assess, do we actually really need this here? Isn't it something that during the pandemic, people recognize what was not needed? How much
It was unnecessary.
how much time was being taken throughout it? So that 3-hour service was really about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That 2-hour service was really about an hour 20 minutes when you talk about what was actually needed, right? And so I think those things need to be revisited. Muscle memory has kicked in for many people. We've gone back to what we used to do.
Yeah.
Because we missed it so much, but yet we're not considering how much we potentially miss out on by not, continuing to assess and I think the word is reset and reimagine. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Reimagine church in the context of now. Like you can still praise. You can still praise. I know from our church context, praise videos or the moments of praise has the highest viewing.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, because you're sharing the experience.
That's the word.
Like, don't keep coming on doing these reels and these Facebook videos saying, "Oh, don't miss this. Don't miss this. It's gonna be a high time in the Lord. Don't miss it." Well, what's gonna happen if I do miss it? You know what I mean? If I miss it, what's gonna happen? You have to show the experience.
That's the key.
It's don't just tell me don't miss it. Show me what I'm missing. Show me the high time in praise and worship. Show me the praise. Show me the high time in the word. Show me the community, the people that are welcoming, that are loving, that will make me not want to miss this, because I see what I'm missing. Not just you coming on Facebook saying, "Praise the Lord, everybody. Don't miss our pre-celebration service. It's going to be a high time of the Lord. Don't miss it. Got to be there."
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going
to don't meet me there.
You know what I mean?
Meet me there. And people aren't like directly inclined to just going to extra services anymore either. I know I'm not. I'm super young, and so I didn't grow. I mean, God bless you guys that had more Sunday school, morning worship, and then eat after, and then 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and all that. I only had a little bit of that, but I'm not necessarily inclined to go into any extra services on Sunday outside of what I do on Sundays. And so I know I'm not the only person that feels that way. No. We got a little spoiled, right? And I won't even call it spoiled. There may not be a need for 4 services on a Sunday. So it's kind of just like, if I really don't need to go, I'm not going to go. And you're not really expressing to me that, what you're coming to is actually an experience. So why am I, it's like no point. I won't say there's always a point. There's always, praise is always in order. Assembling is always in order. But sometimes you got to spend time with your family. I think, yo, we learned a lot during COVID.
Jonathan
Like,
is so honest.
But that's what you need,
to
though.
wrestle with that a little bit because
Yeah.
that's a whole lot of things. Hey, look,
yeah,
our buddy Cornell Showell from Baltimore, who works with B&J in the whole marketing. He always jokes with B&J when we talk about all these. He be like, "Yo, y'all not getting no extra gems in y'all crown. ain't you not getting no extra credit for
you just extra sleepy on Monday morning for work.
I be thinking like, bro, you're right. Like I'm not getting no extra credit for this at all.
And we want to support at will when we can, right? But it's different, y'all. Like if we can kind of condense.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sorry, Pastor.
No, go ahead. And I think that when it comes down to, we got to do what we do and make sure it's quality.
Yes,
we got to
sir.
make sure it's quality as well. We got to make sure, again, we're dealing with attention span. We're dealing with people's schedule.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they love God any less.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does not
Wait,
mean,
say that. Wait, stop. Say that again. Say that last part.
we doesn't mean we love God any less. It means,
All right, y'all.
our
This is
attention
a
span,
this
time-
is
quality
a
time with
baby
family.
boomer. This is
Right.
a baby boomer speaking. I need you to say that one more time for the audience.
You got people's time, their energy. It's all of that. I mean, honestly, you had a final the next day and they told you to sleep on the pew in the back. And I mean, God bless, again, we stand on their shoulders and all that, but it wasn't maybe not the best way. I mean, catch 22 of that as well is like for Sunday, you'll have parents that have kids that's doing football. I say, okay, you go this Sunday, you go that Sunday. If they're going to take the liberties not to come, that's not on you. That's not what we called to do. We're not called to patrol them, control them, any of those things. We offer them a quality service and we give them our best, at that time. Again, we have different means. I love Zoom meetings. That's all I do. I'm not meeting
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not meeting with nobody in person anymore, unless I have to in particular situations. Because as soon as I finish, I go home, I go upstairs and go to bed. So there's great, and speaking of that, there's great advantages. I wouldn't say disadvantages. What are the bad parts of this? Because we have experienced a lot of bad parts of this with the church. What would you guys say? And how do we handle avoiding bad parts of this?
So
Rogers, you on? I need to make sure Rogers is on.
He's on. Rogers is on. He's texting me now. We're going back and forth. Rogers is
so
on.
I mean, people are going viral left and right in the church.
Yeah.
Just I mean, church has always been funny. I mean, laughter is good for the soul, but I mean, some of this stuff is, like I said, maybe try Facebook private, unlisted YouTube, because some of this stuff does not need to be live.
No.
I as an audio engineer, another thing I've noticed was just a lot of vocalists realized they needed work. You're getting direct audio, so whereas before we would just be in the room, you have Deacon so-and-so mixing, and just as long as everybody can hear themselves, we good. Now you have direct audio. I had to make a point of this last Tuesday. You have direct audio going into a microphone that is being sent to a mixer that needs to be mixed and sent to a stream, just stereo, so left and right. Most times some the mono, right? So if your vocals aren't right, you can hear that very clearly. Same thing for musicians, if you're not playing well, same thing for anything else that happens in service. Like that's been I won't call that a bad, it could be a good, but some people never really took advantage. Like they heard it and it was just like, we should stop streaming. I've heard people say that. Because they don't want to, work and progress. And then most times we have volunteers in church. So we try to, be cautious of how we speak to people and not try to make anybody feel bad. But where I found that to have been a great place for us to grow, some of us felt like it was holding them back and we don't sound good and we should just stop. So those have been the two drawbacks I've noticed.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is some drawbacks of this again is everybody has a platform.
Ho, Daryl. I'm gonna do you like you do me. Ho. Say that one more time.
Yeah, is everybody has a platform. Everybody can get their iPhones and hit live. Everybody who should does. Everybody who shouldn't does. And we hear some some ignorant things. We see some ignorant moments, some moments that just shouldn't be broadcast to the world. Everything also is scrutinized. I'm a huge proponent, Pastor Odom, of cutting the stream. My team at my church knows if we go into and we don't, my pastors are amazing. We don't have that randomness.
Right.
But there are some, we cut the stream in moments that are meant for the house and not meant for the world.
Yeah.
So for example, if there's a moment where our pastor is rebuking the congregation,
right,
that's not needed for the world. That's for the church. Yeah. Or if there's a moment where it's special prayer,
right,
for somebody in the house, and that moment can be misconstrued,
right,
you know what I mean, or can be criticized, that's not meant for the world. And he'll say it over the mic, hey, Spud, cut the stream, and we'll cut it. But our team knows now. Or even if it's not cutting the stream because we're going to come back, it's going to a full screen graphic and cut the audio, or playing one of our intro videos just for that moment, because that moment doesn't need to be scrutinized. That moment doesn't need to be criticized by the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everything's a sound bite. Take 15 seconds of something, and then people are having an assessment about your ministry off of a sound bite that was taken out of context.
Absolutely.
And so I think, one thing we talked about again is first impression. Unfortunately, we make assessments and assumptions about your ministry based off of what we hear and we see.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's another reason why, this stuff should be taken seriously. If you're going to do it, like you said, you got to do your best to present excellence, because just like we make assumptions based off of a flyer, we make assumptions about your ministry based off your stream, based off your video, based off your, you got a brand, whether you realize it or not.
Right.
You're going to have it whether you realize it or not. And so, again, that's the assumption. So you may have some ministries that are really, really good ministries, but what they present does not align with really where they are. And guess what we're left to go off of?
Right.
And that's
off of what we see.
Yeah. And that's the important part of at least being able to record and sharing. One of the things about social media, and I know like it's kind of, Kyle, that's because you're a creative too, though. I want to put this out there. We're all creatives. So we pick up things, especially the things that we are into. We pick up things a little quicker, and we see what the average person doesn't see or hear.
But if your flyer isn't good,
I think it even goes beyond us being creatives. Everybody is a consumer. You see what I'm saying? So you are putting out something that is supposed to draw me in as a consumer, and what my eye as a consumer is like, nah, that don't look like something I would want to get. So I think it comes, of course, as creators, like when me and Jonathan, when we looking at streams, we can be like, oh, they not like, this is not mixed. Like, we look at it from a technical perspective, but also we look at everything from consumer.
That's good. That's good because, thank you for saying that, right? Because now I can broaden just this next moment, because, as church people, like we have to be very, and this is what I wanted to say, even with the volunteers, although they're volunteers does not mean it can't be presented in excellence.
Absolutely.
Right? Yep.
Because there are a lot of churches, believe it or not, that we are watching their streams, and majority, not all, but majority of what we see that we are liking is being done by volunteers.
Yep. That's a smart way.
They may have a whole nother profession.
Yep.
When they're not working their 9 to 5, they are studying, they are coming back to the meetings and talking about ways to enhance what they can do in that particular auxiliary. So I don't want us to look at volunteers as, a way to lower the standard.
Right. I also think it is more than just them going home and studying too, right? So being connected to you, Pastor Jason, like I've literally come to you like, yo, I want to learn about a lens, and you'll connect me with somebody. Not everybody has that type of access, right? But I know for a fact that if my volunteer base isn't at a certain level, I got to reach out. I got to find somebody who can come train. I got to find somebody who's able to like facilitate some sort of bi-weekly, weekly, monthly type of thing where, yo, look, I can't be here because I'm only one person, but let's go over this, let's go over it this way, and just somebody who's like, you know, likable and can train, because I think that's like the biggest thing too. Volunteers are definitely essential. If you think about a church like, just for off the top of my head, Transformation Church, right? That church needs at least 50 people on staff on a Sunday.
Wow.
So there's no way, I mean, they could, but there's no way you're paying that many people at one time to do some small stuff too. Like some people are just panning cameras left and right. So volunteer base is like super important, but if that person doesn't necessarily, you have to, I guess, have some sort of technical acumen, but like if they're not doing that as a job every day, they may not know certain things, right? So like having somebody like, all right, yeah, I'm Pastor Jason, I don't know how to do cameras, but my boy does. Let me see if he can come. So I think that's a good way. But I agree. We do lower the standard. Stop, because they just remember they've been here for so long. So just please don't,
Yeah.
just
You got to.
Is there something you could do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you also have to have the patience to train.
Yes, sir.
Like Rome wasn't built in a day.
In a day.
It wasn't built in a day. You have to have the patience to train. I've encouraged pastors, and I'm not saying this is because essentially this is what I've done. Like I've got about eight volunteers, young people. Our youngest producer, meaning headset on, calling camera shots, and we do a six camera setup on Sundays. Is 15 years old.
Yeah.
He's 15 years old. You know what I mean? I don't even put a headset on Sundays anymore.
Oh.
But guess what? It took us like 2 years to get to that point.
See? Yeah.
It took us 2 years, and it took constant training, constant, intentionality. I started off with me and two of my cousins, and we would literally, after service, we would get back on, we would have during the week. All right, let's rewatch the stream. Okay, why did you do this? I don't like this camera shot. Let's stop doing that. It took intentionality. And so I think, and our pastors were patient, because even as we started with the pandemic, and then everybody's starting to see, okay, man, why ours don't look like that? Okay, why ours don't look like that? Like give us some time. And so it takes whoever that leader is. If you don't have that person in the church, invest in, like Donovan said, bring somebody in to pour into, because again, you do have people who would like to learn, who like, hey, and so one of the things I did, and I encourage pastors all the time, is, you got young people who are out here doing videos on their phone every day, and they are naturally creative. That is one of their gifts, and I think it's also good that the church pour into them. So what I would tell my young people is like, listen, I'm teaching you something that can also be a business for you.
There you go.
Business for you. One of my guys literally taught him how to edit. And he graduated from Stevenson University in Baltimore, and he hit me like, Spud, I'm getting asked and getting paid to edit videos for the school. You know what I mean? Even for my business, before I go out, when I get asked to do conferences, live stream, all that stuff, before I go out and try to hire any other cameraman, I'm going to my church team. I'm going to the people that I've trained, that I know. And if, like Donovan said, if I can't be there, I know I got people on my team. So like pastors who are like, man, I don't have no volunteers. You got young people sitting in your church that's editing videos and you don't even know.
I think that we've limited the amount of actual like auxiliaries or ministries that happen in church prior to COVID, right? So what I mean by that is, of course, you have the fivefold gifts, right? And then outside of that, if you weren't in the band or if you didn't sing,
definitely
you were sitting down.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I played the drums, because I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't be in church. And I say that with a grain of salt because I don't know what Lord's will is, but I'm saying like I was bored.
Right.
outside of playing drums. You know what I mean? And I think to have an outlet like a media ministry would be amazing. So, you know, I'm only 24, but when I left high school, I went to Lincoln Tech. So I worked on cars up until last year. That was my career. I was a mechanic, went to Chrysler and then Jeep, and then I went to New Jersey Transit, right? I was supposed to retire from there. It's a great job, right? And then I realized like this is like a really lucrative career. And there's a lot of cutting edge technology. Things are moving. Audio visual is becoming IT, right? So things are becoming very, very technical, and it will not stop becoming technical. Yeah. So I think that it's very important that we present this. We're not asking everybody to be a technical director or editor or anything like that, but this is something the church should definitely present as a ministry, because it is a ministry. And if we so happen to fall, God forbid, we fall into another COVID-19 or something like that, I want everybody to know that these X32s that we ran and bought, that was distributed back in 2012.
Yep.
So at some point, that's going to become antiquated technology.
Yep.
And you're not going to be able to get that anymore. Now you're going to have to go find whatever's cutting edge, which will cost more than the $3,500 that you spent. Some of these mirrorless cameras will, you know, we're looking at 8K now. So I don't know what the streaming limitations will be in a few years, but you know, if 4K is like kind of boring and it kind of looks like 480, you know, we got to upgrade again. So I don't want us to fall behind because we're bored or it's not the thing anymore because everybody came back in person.
Can I just add something to what Donovan just said? It's two things. One, you are absolutely right on the IT aspect. Man, it was before the pandemic, probably like a year, Pastor Odom, and Jay knows this, where I kept hearing the Holy Ghost say to me, I'm moving you into IT.
Wow.
I'm moving you into IT. I got the book right here in my library. So I went and signed up through Udemy to take the CompTIA certification classes.
I'm working on that. That's crazy.
I got the CompTIA book, like, you know what I mean, to get the certification, because I'm thinking, okay, the Lord is saying, look, I'm doing a career change in you.
Wow.
And I'm going to take, like, I want you to go into the IT field. So long story short, probably 6 months into the pandemic, I lost my job.
Wow. So
I'm like, okay, all right, God, I see what you're saying now. Like, I'm supposed to go into IT. But as I lost my job, I'm working at my church every day. I'm because I never touched cameras, any of that. I never did any of that before the pandemic. I'm like, okay, cool. We gotta get this. So I gotta learn. I'm learning on my own. And then as I'm learning on my own, I get other churches starting to see what we're doing and starting to call me. And then me and Jay are working with, we bringing it up with International Bible Way. And I'm talking to one of my boys one day, and he's like, bro, you realize you're doing IT? I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, this is IT. You're doing IT. And so then it started kind of to all make sense.
Right.
Like, as Donovan said, like, this is the way that this is going. This is IT. The other part I want to add is, you got young creatives in your ministry that can help you as to what to present and also how to present. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with him, but I'll scream it to the top of my lungs. One of the key people who I thought ministry-wise that really, really won and really, really excelled during the pandemic, his name is Pastor Chris Foster from California. He doesn't have a large church, you know what I mean? I believe he's growing as a result of like but man, creatively, I mean, and I refuse to believe that stuff just came from him. He definitely had people who were like, I mean, he preached on getting out of the boat, and he did it on a shore.
He put on the rubber look, the ones we use for baptism. Yeah. He went up.
He's on the shore of a lake in a rowboat.
Wow.
In a rowboat
with the rubber suit on,
preaching.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, he's talking about transition, and I think it was about transition and going from seasons of change. And he's on an overpass in LA of a major highway.
Wow,
bro. Or the one where Jacob and Laban is having the conversation.
It's him.
And he's playing Jacob and he's playing Laban, having a conversation.
Yeah.
And so
But he's
it's
preaching the gospel. This is what
Okay.
I'm talking about, representing Jesus.
That's right. Illustrative sermons.
And-
Illustrative sermons.
literally illustrative. And he said something, and when I say me and Jay held on to this when we were first starting to get on this journey, was the same text, chapter Luke. Jesus is on the shore. He's on the shore preaching. The Bible says they press up against him,
Mhm.
and he has to think fast and he has to get creative.
Yep, that's right.
He goes in the boat.
That's right.
He changes his pulpit.
Yep.
No, he changes
Changes his pulpit.
He changes his podium, and he has to present the gospel from a different place.
That's
Yes.
right.
That's
Wow.
essentially what we have to do.
Amen.
That's essentially what we have to do. And guess what? You don't have to. Again, it's I use this analogy often. Is we kind of got that warrior hero leader mentality, where we think it's just got to be us.
Right.
You know, it's got to be us. No, you have young people and other creatives, and I think one thing that this did do, as Donovan said, it helped to pull in and get some of our young people involved, because there
Right.
are some pastors
Right.
who realize, like Donovan said, their pastor like, listen, I trust y'all. I'm wise enough to know I don't know.
Right. Right.
I'm wise enough to
I'm
know.
wise
that
enough to know
don't
that I don't know.
And it's so crazy, and it's like sometimes, like at being younger, sometimes you kind of I never felt this close to my pastor as I did during COVID.
Wow, man.
And it wasn't because he neglected me. Definitely not.
Right.
It was just because like this is literally like you putting trust
Yeah.
that like you have no idea what I'm doing. No idea what I'm doing. I'm literally showing him too. I'm like, look, Pastor, you see the collapse? He said, what is that, a laptop? Like, so, like it made it, and you know, like then it sparked different conversations. We literally one-on-one now. So it's like a really, really like cool like experience to have. Like it's wow. Yeah.
And one of the biggest things, it's like you said how God dropped in your heart during the pandemic. I probably was in April or May. This is real talk. One of the things I said, this is not going away. So what I did, I trademarked the name called Virtual Campus Ministry,
Wow.
because guess what? That's what church is going to look like as well.
Wow.
You have virtual campus all over the country.
Yeah.
So that, use my name, I get paid. The other part was this. Say about a year or so into the pandemic as well, I reached out. I said, I need a young person that we could use as an intern. We could give them a small stipend and bring them in. Brought this young man in. Within a week, I got somebody. Within a week. Since then, I've probably added about 12 young people that were not going to church to
Wow.
our audio video ministry.
Wow.
To the point where there's a young man that's a drone teacher that runs a drone during service.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that is it. Like, and so it creates even that culture of wanting to get involved. Like, man,
Right.
you know, I had people come in once they see like everything that we were doing. They said, "Man, we want to be a part. I want to learn."
Yeah.
You know, and the team just keeps growing, and it's just again,
It
it's
becomes
just
infectious.
community
And one of the things you
building.
said, let it develop and evolve, because one of the things as we were learning how to do this, we start adding pieces. And then I noticed like the shots was bad. I said, well, they can't hear each other. How do they know what to do? So we had to make sure we got extra. So you learn how to evolve with certain
Yep.
things, you know, and be patient with it as well,
Yep.
because you know what you're trying. And one of the things I always said, and you guys said it a couple of times, we don't want them to attend an event. We want them to attend an experience.
An
So
experience.
camera shots, how long you're on those shots. Those are the technical parts. And it's easy. We use Switcher Studio. We use Switcher
Yeah.
Studio
Yeah.
for that. So you can use up to 10 cameras. We don't use 10 cameras. But the shots you get, the quality is great.
Yeah.
It can be really good. So you could honestly, you could do a great service presentation, not even a large budget.
Yep.
Not even a large budget.
Presentation is key. I just acquired my CTS, which is a Certified Technical Specialist certification, and one of the questions on there was what does an exponential AV experience look like? And the answer was good content, good technology, and the third one was good audio. So out of those things, so I'm just thinking about the in person. Let's think about in person for a second. While I'm in person, I am not huge on video walls. They take a lot of processing, a lot of power. but they're cool, right? If I'm sitting in a pew, it's always, I want to be able to hear the preacher. I want to be able to hear the band. I want to be here. And not every church has line arrays and subs and everything like that. But for the most part, you want it to kind of be a uniform sound, uniform situation. Whereas, you know, same thing online, which is a little bit more difficult to acquire because of all the, you know, back end mixing, and you got to throw your headphones on. It's live in the room and everything like that. But those three factors are like definitely what people are looking for in general, in person, out of person. Would anybody go to a movie theater if you couldn't hear the movie or you couldn't see the movie and you just paid your $50, $60, however much it costs now? Like that's not a good experience. And we expect that from a movie theater. We expect basketball games to have I want to be able to see. We expect the NFL streams to be perfect. So I think we should have the same expectation for church. Like, period.
And it shouldn't be loud. It should be clear.
It should be clear. Church is loud, Pastor Odom. Church is loud. Church is loud. But I just feel like, as an engineer, like I'm literally engineering, and I feel like if I think pre-pandemic maybe, I think what we've experienced was like, and Elder Spud can probably speak to this, like when you cup the mic, like you're getting your real preacher voice, and you want to get church, and you tell them to turn the organ up. You know, we don't realize we're at like 150 decibels, and like the threshold of pain for the human ear is over like 100. So like we're at 150, and you at home on Sunday night laying down, and you hearing a ring in your ear, and you've been doing that for 40 years. Your hearing kind of, you know, changes over time. Seriously, like, you know,
that's
so
real talk though, because on my watch it lets me know when the sound is too loud.
Oh, really? I didn't know you could program that. That's cool.
Yeah, it just happens. Yeah. It's like, and it's going off every Sunday. I was like, bring it down.
I need to program that. Yeah. So just just the experience in itself. I think we just need to raise the standard. And that doesn't mean, like Pastor O just talked about Switcher Studio. For me, I don't think people need to have $100,000 budget. I do want to put that out there, Pastor Jay. Like we want to have a budget. But like, not everybody's going to have that 100,000, you know, not everybody's going to have that fee for the consultant and then, you know, the installer. And then we're going to run 200 feet of fiber cable from the front to the back. Not everybody's going to have that.
Right.
So there's different means of like doing this. One thing about these iPhone cameras, they're only like 8 or 12 megapixels, but you put good lighting on them. They look good. Like they really do look good. Lighting is one of the biggest parts of video. If the lighting is bad, you could have a $50,000 ARRI Red camera. It's just not going to look good. You know what I mean? So that's another point. Yeah.
Even to your point, Pastor Odom's looks the way he's looking because of his lighting.
It's his lighting. It's literally his lighting.
You don't realize what it is until you don't have it. So you the lights that he has in the background, like that all plays. Those little lights he has in the back of the play,
it separates him from the
exactly. It plays a huge role in his whole presentation.
So Lady O is justified. See, even the professionals, the subject matter experts recognize the importance of all of the extra lighting.
Because I'm in communities online that speak to these things, and I ask questions all the time. I'm in the eCams community, so those guys, I always say, what lightings do I need, this and another. Now I know other, you know, you got people like gadgets, but basically, what do I need? And it evolved over time. You know, adding this light. Listen, I got a church, it's not my church, it's a church in Trenton. I'm going to bless them. Well, my startup kit. You hear what I'm saying? So what they want to do. You know, because as you evolve, you sold into somebody else's life, and you allow other people to understand what to do as well.
Yes. I was just telling somebody that they want to, the church, they want to upgrade what they have. They're like, oh, what do we do with the old stuff? And I want to say that Facebook Marketplace is like a little saturated with like random equipment nowadays.
Yeah.
Just bless somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I think we only think we can be a blessing financially or going in person to the 4:00 service and buying fish dinners. But I think we can, you know, take these speakers, some of these 15 unpowered, you know, give them the power amp, you know, but it's better than what they currently have.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
This is good, y'all. This has been great, and I'm really enjoying the dialogue. But I want to get you guys back to your day. So we'll, close this out in the next 10 minutes, and I just kind of want to, just start rounding off. Let's talk some strategy. I know we said some things like kind of during the earlier conversation, but let's really talk about like some strategy, intention, and intentionality, for ministries and businesses, moving forward. Whether it's a sermon series, right? Like let's tap into Spud. We tap into the marketing aspect, because people want to grow their viewer audience. People want to grow their ministries. So let's talk about intentionality. Like, what can people do now? Like you mentioned, creating these highlights of their best points or best moments in service. Let's give us a 1-2. You and Donovan can kind of go back and forth. Give us a 1-2-3, kind of like, I want to start tomorrow. What can I do? Where can I go? How can we make this happen?
So give one of your young people the assignment or the responsibility of getting some good clips in service. Reels get the most vision in the algorithms now. They're pushed to the forefront of everybody's timelines. They'll get the most viewers. So let's not take it landscape. Let's take all the videos. Let's take them all
Portrait.
Yep. Vertical. Let's get some shots of praise and worship. Let's get some shots of people entering in the church. Let's get some shots of people hugging and greeting each other. Let's get some shots of the pastor. Let's get some shots of the praise team, of the band. And then literally let's put it in a reel. Do what you do for your own social media page. Do it for the church. Get some trending audio that's on, that's trending on
Instagram
or social media, and put it on that video and just share the experience. That's all we got to do, is share the experience of our church. Then the other thing I think long term is you want to think about, how do you continue to build community from what you do on your social media pages? Like, how can I translate this highlight reel, somebody who views my highlight reel for the first time, who then presses the follow button, who then starts commenting on our content, how can we move them to somebody that's a fully engaged community member? Because I think where we kind of fell off was, at first we just used social media as a bulletin board, right? Where we were just simply posting flyers, posting, whatever, church events, our church schedule, instead of realizing, again, like, this can be used as a tool to forsake not to assemble ourselves. So long-term engage is the highlight clips. Well, how do I move from the highlight clip to getting somebody into a full-blown engage in the community, even if they're across the country?
That's right.
Never will step foot in our sanctuary.
That's right.
They can still be a part of our church community.
You just got my notes. that was my final closing, but you just took it.
Yeah, Dom. Before you go, Spud. You said something and it triggered something, because I want people to understand that it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
Your church,
the gospel is for everybody, but your audience.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I got two.
I needed to tap into that so you can share that next part.
So whether you realize it or not, whether you're trying to or not, your church has a target audience.
Right.
You have a target audience, whether you realize it or not. When we come into your church, it won't take us long to figure out who your target audience is, or who you appeal to. If I come to your church and all of the praise and worship songs are congregational songs, older songs, obviously your appeal is to a older audience. If I come to your church and the praise and worship is CCM, more youthful, more energetic, everybody's dressed down, the pastor's dressed down, obviously, whether you're intending to or not, you are identifying your target audience. Part of that is, and that comes into play with marketing and branding, because when you understand who your target audience is, and when I say target audience, if we want to put it in church terms, who you are called to.
Right.
Okay?
Talk to us, Doc. Talk to
So
us,
you
Doc.
won't be thrown off by me saying target audience.
Right. Right.
Who you are called to. Who you are called to.
Now, give them a little Bible with that too, right? Like there's some scriptures.
Yeah. You know, let me think. We could go to Elijah. You can go to Elijah. He is called to be a prophet to the nation of Israel. And then after he has this whole experience in victory on Mount Carmel, and he has this whole experience and encounter with Jezebel, he abandons who he's called to. He leaves. The Bible says he leaves Judah, and that's when he goes and he sits under the juniper tree saying, God, I want to die. You know what I mean? I'm no better than my ancestors. But he was outside of his assignment.
Right.
And so when he gets to the mountain of God, God literally says to him, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? I didn't call you here. You are outside the boundaries of who I called you to.
That's right.
So I think when you understand who you're called to, then you can come up with strategies to effectively reach who you're called to.
That's right.
And you know, it's I believe it was Tony Morgan who said, you know, of course, everybody would say, oh, we called to reach everybody. Well, when you try to reach everybody, you effectively reach nobody. you effectively reach nobody. But if I know, you know, if I know, hey, I'm called to reach, you know, an audience that is from 25 to 45. My marketing and my strategies to reach them is going to be different than if I'm called to reach some, you know, 50 to 70 or anything like that. So, and part of that, as Jason said, is understand that it's not for everybody. So I know we want everybody to join our church, but the truth is, I may not be called to you, and this may not be the place for you, and that's okay.
And exactly. And you got to know if you can't hear God's voice through my voice, then I may not be your pastor. And he calls us to be fisher of men. But guess what? For different fish, take different bait. So what I may be offering may not be your app. You know, you might like Applebee's. There's nothing wrong with Applebee's, or you may like Morton Steakhouse. So I'm not offended, but it's again, you got to know. We had a strategist come in just before the pandemic, and he kind of worked out what our target audience is based on our demographic, based on our population, our personnel. I know this sounds very technical, but we got to be able to measure whether or not what we're doing is effective or efficient as well. We can't just be out there just grabbing our ears and walking pews and don't know, people living or dying. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, but we got to be more intentional. And like you said, people may never come into our building, but guess what? We get the opportunity to come into their space, their homes, their communities. So that's the key. So if we're looking for, and pastors do that, they look around, whether it's effective service or not, based on attendance. You may get 150 and get no money. You may get 10. God bless you. It's all about your attention. Again, and what you say is what you attract.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Pastor Odom, I mean, to your point, could it be, man, that is, wow, that is amazing, because again, it gives you the opportunity to maximize and put some intentionality. And could it be, we could present the argument that some pastors are literally struggling in planning and building their church because they don't know who they're called to. You know what I mean? Again, I'm called to the world. I'm called to the nations. What if you were just simply called to this community?
That's right. That's right.
Who was Peter for? Who was Paul for?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Jesus died for the world, but when he talks about his message.
So how much time would the Apostle Paul have wasted preaching to the Jews?
Right.
Yeah. He
says, no, I know who I was called to.
That's right.
I know who I was called to. And again, that could be some of our issue. We don't want to do the work to understand who we are called to.
Right.
I always I say this all the time is we constantly see flyers and hear requests for support. Oh, come out and support this. Come out and support. Come out to this service and support. To really get butts in the seats, right?
right.
Absolutely.
They're called event planners.
Yeah, and then we're disappointed. We're disappointed when we don't get that. We're mad at our cousin who we thought should be there. We got an ought, you know what I mean? But here's the reality. The truth is you may not be called to them.
Right.
So instead of always appealing for support, we need to find where we're necessary.
Right. That's and it goes the same thing with business. You start a business, and you know how we do. We say, Black people don't support you. Maybe they don't need or want your product.
That's it.
I don't need a weave. So I may support you out of love.
I can't stand that talk.
I support you out of love, but love runs out.
Yeah.
So if you don't know your targeted audience, or if your product's even necessary, where you are. So that goes both in business and in ministry.
Yes, sir.
You got to be effective in your presentation, and I don't have to accept any and everything. You know, so that, and again, going back, said people's mind has changed. Like, and I'm gonna tell you, people shopping. They've been shopping for the last 2 years, and they're not shopping because they church hopping. They're like, I got free, I got paroled.
Oh man, people didn't understand that part.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It took the pressure off of them of not having to ask people where they've been, not why you ain't been at church on Sunday. You know what I mean? Hey, it's been 2 years. I'm just not going back.
Yep.
I'm not going back there.
There.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of times, like, stop all this. People not coming back to church. They coming back to church. They just not coming back to your church.
To your church.
And again, and we can't be. Again, they're not our people. They're God's people.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's when we make this about the kingdom. It's less painful and disappointing. All of us experience pouring into people and not getting a return on your value. But I must say one thing I did learn as a pastor, as I prayed about it, you didn't guard your grace. If you don't guard your grace, people will mishandle it. They don't understand it. They don't value it. So some of the stuff we got to take responsibility to as well.
Yes, sir.
It's not for everybody.
Jeez, man, this is a lot. We almost got caught up because this could have went like 3 different ways just now. Don, man, like solution strategy. Somebody wants to start tomorrow, man. Like what's happening?
Just as Elder Spud said, man, I think we have great tools in these phones. Just these cameras are amazing. Is it called cinematic mode, the video? Yeah, so there's a regular video mode and then there's a cinematic video mode right in your stock camera on your phone.
I think that's 14, right? I don't know.
Yeah, this is a 13.
Oh, 13. Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a 12 or better, 13 or better,
okay,
you may have a cinematic mode, which kind of puts bokeh, blurs out the background.
Yeah.
That kind of adds a nicer feel to it. I'm pretty much mirroring everything Elder Spud said because this was so good. But I would definitely just have your young people like start leaning on them, start trusting them. They are on social media all day, every day. I know it's hilarious, but your church should create a TikTok too.
Yep.
TikTok gets some leverage too. I think just being present on multi platforms,
right,
will allow for people to see more of you. That would be like a tomorrow thing. I would not let tomorrow go by without. I would even catch Mother so-and-so as she's walking out and say, Mother so-and-so, how was church today?
Yeah.
Catch her, do a little interview, little small things like that is engagement.
Yeah.
And people like to see themselves back on Facebook. Like people, they recorded me. They did. People like that. People really do like that. And I think as they share that with their friends, the algorithm will start pushing you closer to the front. And as weeks go by, though, we want to make sure that we go beyond that, as Elder Spud said, not just stay on the real thing. You should continue to post content. I think I don't do it as much, but the people I know, I'm in a course with Elisha Sumo, and he's very big on post. One of your reels are going to get 2 likes and 20 views. Another one might get 50 likes and 100,000 views. You have to continue to post to start pushing yourself on the algorithm, because even if I see your one post, I'm going to be inclined to go to your page.
Right.
If I like what I saw. So I want to go to your page and see different things. Instagram is a good place to, like, post your reels from Sundays. Definitely finding that audio that's trending. I remember Bishop Younger's "The Storms Passing Over" was like real popular for a little while. Just as an example, you would want to use stuff like that. Put that, mute your audio from what you recorded, and put that audio on top, and then that'll like push you on another part of the algorithm where other people, because on Instagram people have something called niches. So like if I look up a lot of church videos, or if I'm looking at a lot of different churches, or if I'm on Church of Laugh a lot, whatever, if I'm doing a lot of church stuff, if I go to my explore page, that'll be most of the things that I see. Or if I follow Elder Spud, or if I follow Pastor Odom or Pastor Jason, they may have shared something and I'll be able to see it. So it's definitely a hit or miss. Don't be discouraged if your first couple reels don't blow up. We're not looking to go viral anyway, right? Like that wasn't the attempt. It's to reach who our audience is. I don't think we should, that whole like I'm for the nations thing, like it's cool, but none of us are omnipresent. So even if when you do go to another nation, you gotta kind of put forth whoever's there to serve there. And I don't know how you can be in several places at the same time. I mean, and their connection, they're on a different time zone and all that good stuff. So so yeah, just keeping that in mind is just that. And then of course, as the weeks go by, Elder Moody, Pastor O, myself, Elder Spud, you can reach out to any of us to kind of, I guess, start the process of who do I contact to move forward with this.
Let's
you know
go.
what I mean? Because that's definitely the biggest thing. You're doing your reels, you're doing your reels, you're doing your content, and you want to go to the next level. We're all here. You can reach out to us. If Pastor Jason doesn't know, Pastor O may know. If Pastor O doesn't know, I may know. If I don't know, Elder Spud may know. So I'm even though I'm a little stretched thin, I am definitely in our area, in the New Jersey area. I am available for consultations and discovery calls. Pastor O, I owe you one, sir.
Yes, you did.
And
I was on your spot.
just to kind of talk through what you're seeing and what you're hearing and what you're feeling, just to kind of move forward with the process. Because, like I said, that $100,000 budget thing, please take that out of your mind. It would be nice, that would be great, but it's not something that many of us can say we are working with, and that's fine. Let's work with what we have. Let's establish what we can acquire, and let's build from there. So, yeah.
Don, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook at Donovan Marshall Jr. I am on Instagram at Don's Official, DONS Official _ I should be finished developing my website today. My email is djmarshall123@gmail.com. And should I put? I don't think my phone number, right? Yeah. So you can reach me at any of those mediums. I'm free for the rest of the day, so I'm going to be contacting everyone back that contacted me in the last 2 weeks. Finishing up some stuff. Yeah. So So let's work and let's build the kingdom, just like everyone else is building the NFL and the NBA and the AMC movies and the stock market. Let's build the kingdom. I think we should all have a passion for it, just like everyone else has a passion for it. So yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Spud, share your info, bro.
Email address is dmbjuniorproductions@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. You can follow me on Instagram at Spud Brown. And then also you can follow me on Facebook at Daryl Spud Brown. Again, same as Donovan. If you email me, I'm a little stretched in as well, but I'm good at emailing right back and being completely honest with you about where I am in my schedule. So any questions, if we need to jump on the phone, if we need to jump on a Zoom call, I'm open to all of that. Just feel free to let me know.
I don't know about stretch, but I want to be thin.
You want to unbig your back, Pastor J?
Listen, I pray that you really enjoyed this conversation today. It's up for the replay. Share it with your teams at your church. Share it with your leadership at your church. Share it with your board members at your church. If you are watching this and you are a business owner, again, a lot of these principles, a lot of the strategies and solutions that we spoke about today concerning the church is a business, also is for, your personal business. You're looking to expand. Again, you may not have tons of money in the budget for marketing, but listen, reach out. You just never know what relationships and conversations that we can have to unearth some things and share some ideas that can help you and your business and your ministry grow. Pastor Odom is a great person of resources, of information. He is also the CEO and visionary of the O Factor. I'm Jason Moody, CEO and visionary of J Moody Enterprises. We do a lot of partnerships and marketing with different companies and ministries. You heard Elder Brown and I, we work together for our church organization that we kind of grew up in. And, over the last few years, we've got some hands-on experience that was able to help the organization rebrand, expand their reach, and have a great online imprint. Didn't have it before. They have it now. It's all about maximizing, what's in front of you for the opportunity to grow. So, Pastor O, last words, and we can close out.
Again, thank you, gentlemen, so much for sharing these resources, this information, your insight, your experience. It's been tremendous, and I thank God for you. And again, this is birthed out of bringing together 5 different pastors, key pastors, for kingdom collaboration. And we do this for the benefit of the kingdom, because we know it's a necessary conversation that's needed. And sometimes we don't know where to go for the information. So you look for these things to happen real soon, but we do the different things. And also, I believe it's June 24th. Am I right, Pastor Jason?
Yes, sir.
Will be our next in-person kingdom collaboration. And we're doing things based on the needs assessment of the demographic in which we work in. And we doing this because this is what God has led us to do. So again, thank you guys so much. And I'll be reaching out to both of you as well for different information. And I got to go look up this iRig and this cloud lifter right away.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, you just can't be around people that like what you love, so it really inspires you and it really pushes you to another level.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So everybody, especially if you're in the North Jersey area, June 24th, it is a health expo, health fair. We want to create one of the biggest exercise classes that we've ever seen. We want to block the block off and have a 45-minute fitness class. And we're going to have some mental health. We're going to have some doctors there. We're going to have some speakers there that are going to be sharing a wealth of information, again, because this is not just about, how you can do ministry better, but life. And if you're not healthy, you can't do any of this stuff. So, we're targeting key areas, and June 24th, we will be gathering in the first ward of Paterson, New Jersey, and then we'll come back in October to close the year out with some special stuff. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Have an amazing and wonderful day, and we'll see you the next time we gather. Again, share this live, share this information, reach out to us if you want to grow and expand your media, your marketing, and your production. God bless.